Well, let's get right into it.
Yeah. I think the 4th of July stuff was gold before that, but...
Yes. Oh, my gosh. What'd you do?
Like a good father with a 1-year-old son, I was in bed by 10 complaining about the neighbor's fireworks.
Yes.
So...
before when I was younger, I didn't care. I was always the one wanting to do fireworks. But now, kids, dog. I had to give my dog some CBD treats. Like, calm her down.
Yeah, we have, like, trazodone or something like that for ours that if we don't give it to her, like, before they start, she'll never take them. So she was in our basement in, like, a little crate with blankets all around it.
Oh,
and
no.
calming music playing so that she...
Talk about neighbors.
Wouldn't hear it as much, but... Yeah, and I live in downtown Clarkston, so...
Oh, yeah.
It gets pretty crazy down there.
It's wild. Well, let's jump right in then to showing houses. I don't know why this just like kind of naturally came to my brain. When showing like an open house, or showing people in terms of just a walkthrough, do people get nosy?
Oh my God, I actually had a really weird experience yesterday.
Tell me.
So the people that I'm showing the house to, they were pretty friendly. They're just friendly people in general. And the neighbor came over to talk with them. And then one of the guys was like, why don't you come on in with us? And it put me in a really weird spot because I was like, man, I really should not let that happen. No. But like having that conversation is also kind of weird too. So
I've done a few open houses where they'll just walk in. Oh, I'm just a neighbor. I'm not really looking. Yeah. I just want to know what they've done. Or they'll have the same layout.
But they say like, the more people that can come in and they can, let their group of people know what it's like. And I don't think it's all bad, but...
Well, friends want their friends to live closer. They'll be like, hey, this house is right down the street. So how is everything going this year for you?
This year has been, like, up and down like crazy. I started the year with nothing. Like, I had no clients in the pipeline. Didn't know what I was going to do. And then... So I also coach tennis at LHS, and so I didn't really plan on doing that this year, but I had nothing coming up in the pipeline, so I was like, I'll do that. And right about the time tennis started, everything just picked up like crazy, and it was really difficult to try and manage, especially like when we had tournaments down in Boise, and I was trying to write stuff up for people while I was out of town and trying to plan meetings with people in between those times, and that was pretty tough. So
winter, they say is always slower.
Yeah, that way I can just go skiing in the future. Right?
Listen, that's my jam. That is my jam.
I've heard.
So let's talk then, how your year's going. You're with KW Realty. How long have you been with them?
I think like a year and 3 months now or something like that.
You hit your year. This month is my year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
No.
Doesn't feel like it was that long, though. Honestly, it feels like it's just a few days.
I know. A blink. And you've only been with KW.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah. But I interviewed like a whole bunch of brokerages before I chose them. So.
What was the big deciding factor? Was there just one, or was there kind of
there was multiple. First of all, the people that were there were very, very friendly. And I really liked that. But that was pretty much true across the board. The other part, though, was I think Keller Williams is a lot more focused on, like, building your own brand and your own business than most, in fact, any other brokerage that I know. And so from my point of view, where I planned on teaching for another year before fully going into it, that made a lot more sense because everyone else wanted someone who could like devote 100% of their time into it, and that wasn't me at the time. So that was a big reason behind it as well.
And you're still teaching?
No, not anymore.
Not anymore. Done.
I just resigned.
This was your last year. Nice. How's it feel?
It feels pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy that I won't have to go in there anymore because it is really hard.
What age was your?
I had a bunch of ages.
Because you subbed.
Well, I was in Title I.
Yeah.
And so we would help out the kids that were behind. So I had kindergarten all the way through 6th grade.
Oh yeah, all sorts of ages. Yeah, my son. Dara and I can both talk about how our 7, 8, 9-year-olds are.
That's the easiest age in the elementary schools, though. Like, I didn't.
Some of them.
I was not able to handle like the kindergarten. Like,
the littles.
I peed my pants. Crap, I don't know what to do. You go figure that on your own.
It's out of my payroll.
Or the older kids where they just hate your guts.
Yeah.
So like right in that middle
That
is
middle.
at least when you're not the parent, it's not bad.
Yeah. You get out of there's that why stage. They ask all those why questions. So it's a little bit after that when they're still kind of in that little kid, bigger kid stage.
Like third, fourth grade is the best.
Yeah.
So at least from the teaching perspective, I feel like.
And you have one boy.
One boy is a year and a half, and one on the way in a couple months. So.
How's that work schedule wise? Are you able to be home? Do you try to go in the office?
I built myself a pretty nice little work from home area, so that's one thing that I've really enjoyed using. Although it has been less ideal than I originally thought, because something always comes up where my wife needs my help.
Yes.
And I don't know if I'm unique in this way, but like I have to get into a zone before I can really work. And so, like have a coffee or something and get myself really ready to go. And I can work for 3, 4, 5 hours as long as I'm not interrupted. Yeah. But as soon as I'm interrupted, it's like a half hour to an hour to get back into it.
I feel that way as well.
So the work from home thing doesn't always work great. Especially in the summer because my wife teaches too, and so she's home all the time.
Summer off.
So I think it'll be a little bit better with when we get back into like the real swing of things.
Yeah. Do you try to go then into the office?
Yeah, I try to go in like 2-ish, 3 times a week, and honestly, I'll just go into the office for a little bit and then go to like Hot Shots or something to go do work because I'm a lot more productive when there's people around me, making sure I'm not watching YouTube videos. At least that's how I feel. Like no one actually cares, but like I don't want to like be in a coffee shop just watching YouTube.
Yeah. Someone's gonna watch me. Now KW, do they do like weekly meetings for the whole business?
There's a weekly meeting for everybody at the Lewiston office.
Okay.
So. And then there's trainings dispersed throughout the week. So I always try to go to any of those or like because Keller Williams is based, at least the one in Lewiston, the home base is in Spokane. And so like they'll have people come from there down here and I make sure
that's cool.
I try to be there for those as well. So
have you done any of your continuing ed yet? I know I thought about getting it like done ahead of time, but there's no way. That's going to be last minute like always. But
because
do you you can do all that online for your continuing ed, or do you have to go, or can you go to like a in-person and like count that as like a full day?
I know there's some of it that happens in town that you can count for your C's. But
for my lending job, they have it to where you could go to like Seattle and it's like a whole day, just get it done, but you have to pay for it. And I don't know, that would be kind of worth it just to get it done and over with, except there's so many hours. Do you know what the hours are for you guys?
I should know. I
think ours is gosh, I should know too.
It's not something you really think about until you need it, and then all of a sudden you panic. And
I know.
I feel like that's a pretty universal thing unless you're one of those weird people who's always on top of it.
I feel like do you listen to any like podcasts? Do you listen to the national numbers for real estate, or you kind of seem like the guy that would look into that kind of stuff?
Podcasts on real estate? No. I have a lot of varied interests, and I guess that isn't one that always is intriguing me. But I definitely have read like a couple books on the subject. There's Gary Keller, who's, I don't know, what the CEO of Keller Williams? I don't know. He's written a couple, and I'm trying to read all of his books. I'm like 2 in, so.
How many does he have?
I have no clue, but it's a lot.
A lot?
Yeah.
That's cool. I've read like Dave Ramsey, I've done those things. Is there a book that for people buying a house, like first time, or just wanting to like read about becoming a real estate agent? Like, is there a book that you feel like you're drawn to more to refer
In the
to?
real estate side?
Like to refer to people, like, hey, you should read this book. Not really?
Not really. The one book that I've always really enjoyed recommending to people and talking about is The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss.
4-Hour Workweek.
Have you ever heard of that?
No.
I mean, it's a pretty lofty goal, but there's some really cool stuff in there that,
Yeah.
you know, if you really wanted to get into it, you could probably get to the point where you worked like 4 hours a week and
Really?
it'd
And
be
thrive.
okay. But it also involves like not living in the United States where cost of living is really high and, you know, lots of things like that.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of little like,
It's
hacks.
just an interesting.
But it was a really interesting thought experiment of
Yeah.
how I could do that. And I've done a few of the things from the book and tried them out. And some of them worked, some of them didn't. But it's always kind of fun.
It's fun. There's a couple. When I first got my loan officer license, I was in a study group that was practicing for the test and stuff. And when you pass, then you get put into like another group where they'll talk about like business strategies or how to build relationships and whatnot. And I'm listening to all these like big city podcasters or big city type of articles where it's like you need to cold call, and this one guy's like you need to call 100 realtors a day, and it's like I'm in a whole different ball game here, talking to people and more one-on-one, and so I'm trying to just get some more info out there to people on this that are thinking about buying a house or whatnot. And the home buying process, you know, everyone suggests get pre-qualified, get pre-approved. What's the next step you would suggest in the steps to buying a house?
Are you like specifically referring to like a first-time home buyer maybe?
Sure, yeah. They don't have anything to sell. They don't even know where to start. They maybe have talked to a lender, crunched some numbers, don't really have a realtor. What are those next little bits of steps they should take?
Man, I think now this is just because it worked for me
Okay.
and my wife
In your home buying process?
in my home buying process, our home buying process, and especially since, you know, right now affordability is a huge issue.
Yes.
One of the things that I would say for people to do is learn a few of the skills to make a house look the way you want it. Like, I cannot believe the amount of people wanting to buy a house. They're like, oh, I can't paint a wall. I'm like, just learn to paint. Like, you can watch a 10-minute YouTube video on it, and it's like really easy. You can paint your whole house in a couple days. Like, it's not a problem. And you can make it feel and look like home for you. Like, make it look brand new. Or being interested in renting out part of your house. Like, I do that. My wife and I, we turned our upstairs into an apartment, and we pay almost nothing every month for our house because it pays us. It's just pretty incredible, you know, and like, I think it's, especially in today's weird, crazy market for first-time home buyers where they have no equity built in anything and price of everything has gone up way too fast. That's something that you could do that actually makes it possible, you know, because if you're buying an average home right now, even if you put 20% down, you're going to be paying almost $2,500 a month. And if you can rent out your house for $1,500 a month or part of your house for $1,500 a month, now it's affordable, you know?
Yeah, that's for sure.
If you can learn to do that stuff, it's doable.
Do you feel like a lot of people want those houses that they don't need any love in them?
Move-in ready?
Yeah.
That's what everyone wants,
Yeah.
right? But you can't, like, I feel like that's a bit of a social contagion. Or everyone, sorry about that. Everyone feels like they deserve that, you know? And that's just not the reality.
Yeah.
Like, it's always been hard, and it's probably harder now than it ever has been, at least statistically. That's kind of what it looks like. But that's what your grandparents did. You know, they didn't buy that
Yes.
like super nice home that they live in now the very first time.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
Yeah.
You know,
For
so
sure.
get okay with that, and it's not like it's not a bad thing, and you can make it awesome.
Are you a visionary? Do you spit out kind of like, oh, you could do this?
Oh, absolutely, I love doing that. It's
good.
my favorite kind of client when they ask you or ask me like, you know, let's go into a house and let's see what we could do with this to make it better. You know, I love
vision
going
of it.
in and saying, you know, we could, you know, if you want to open concept, we could take out this wall, and like I have a pretty good amount of experience like renovating houses. I've worked for a couple contractors. I've renovated my own house, and so like something I'm definitely good at.
That's neat.
So.
See, I don't have that. I've talked on another podcast about that. As I have a really hard time envisioning it unless I have some sort of like mock-up or like a Pinterest kind of version of it. My husband's the handyman, but like I can paint a wall.
Yeah.
That's fine. But there's always things on YouTube.
YouTube is the best thing that's ever happened to the
my
world,
gosh.
in my opinion, because you can literally learn anything.
Anything. My vacuum, like my old vacuum, there's something wrong with it, and like I'm pretty sure my husband YouTubed on how to like change the filter, and it's there.
Yeah, it's there.
You can find anything.
Yep.
Explain a PSA. Let's get into that. When you get kind of a full let's go signed contract. What is a PSA?
Well, you're looking at a purchase and sale agreement that is going to, you know, put you into a legally binding contract with hopefully legally binding contract with a seller or with the buyer.
Yes.
And you know, trying to if I'm buying, I'm trying to give my buyer as much good things as possible in there via lots of, especially in like Washington when there's so many forms, you can kind of sneak some things in there, and if the selling agent isn't very meticulous about it, you can sneak some things in that really help your buyer.
Yes.
You can get out of the contract pretty much at any time if
Yeah.
you want to in Washington with some things.
We look at them too because it has a lot to do with their loan and what they've been pre-qualified for even. And so
right.
we take those and it really gets the initial disclosures out for what we've kind of gotten worked up. This is what the rate's currently at. This is when we start locking in rates. Do you, reach out to the lender and kind of say like, hey, what's the appraisal going to be scheduled? What's the ending, maybe closing date you're kind of thinking? Do you reach out, or do you kind of wait for the lender to reach out to you about that kind of stuff?
Well, ideally, but even before we've submitted a purchase and sale agreement, me and the lender have been talking quite a bit about what we can do to get things, you know, set up for my buyers. You know, if someone's got a lot of cash but can't qualify a lot of their income, like there's different things you do there, and vice versa. If someone has a little cash and a higher income, or you know, ideally, I've already been talking with my lender for a couple weeks sometimes, you know, and we have a really good relationship, you know, as that goes forward.
Yeah, that's good. I'm just hearing stories too about, you know, outside of town lenders and how they don't get to phone calls right away if there's like a time change.
Yeah.
Do you feel there's a lot of out of town buyers coming in, out of the area buyers coming in that have their own outside?
My first couple transactions have all been people from Boise moving here, and we had that, but obviously the time change thing isn't that big there.
Not that big here.
No, he's got an hour, and I've never had a bad experience with just like someone who's a more or less local lender.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's always the big ones that I have a hard time with.
Yeah. You can tell me that for sure.
I bet you hear that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get like, it's like talking to a robot.
Oh yeah.
You get put in a...
Or like I literally submitted an offer yesterday on 4th of July.
Oh.
Like, if it wasn't a local lender that was willing to work with me during that time, that never would have happened. In fact, we were working with a local lender and another company that wasn't local, and we weren't able to go with the other one because they weren't getting back to me on 4th of July, which I understand.
Yeah.
But also, sometimes
Timing.
the house comes up at the right time, and you just have to go for it,
Timing.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Do you try to be available for your clients
whenever I can.
whenever you can?
Absolutely.
Do you cut it off at night, or?
No, I should.
I've been trying to come up with some sort of schedule to make it so it's a little more work-life balance easier.
Yeah.
Like talking to realtors and like taking them out to lunch or talking over coffee. I feel like this just gives it a more, not like it's forcing you to talk to me, but just a way to get to know you in a way that's not like a scheduled like meeting type thing. This is more of like a, let's hang out, let's talk, let's get your feel on things.
Well, if we could meet anywhere and have a conversation like this.
Come on now.
Let's just record.
There's beer here. I have to bring beer here, but that's all right.
You can have it at the bar.
Mm-hmm. The brewery, I know. How do you handle marketing in terms of like Facebook and marketing yourself? You're really good at like the visuals of things. That one for that open house we did was great.
Everyone says that, and I feel like that is not my strength.
Really?
But whatever.
Well, that's shocking. Well, what do you use like Canva, or do you just kind of whip it up on your laptop?
I use Canva.
Canva.
Yeah. And I like to use their templates.
That's perfect. I think they're really good.
Social media is probably my least favorite part of this whole, I don't know, doing it yourself entrepreneur thing.
Yeah.
I hate that part.
That's
the first thing I would hire out.
Do you ever do videos or like live walkthroughs or anything like that?
I have never been someone who shares much on social media.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really care if everyone knows, but obviously, like, in this work field, it's kind of important, and my wife's really good at it, so I'm probably gonna use some of the things that she posts for that stuff.
Good.
I just don't like putting my personal life out there too much, even though I know it's pretty important. You know, it's hard for me.
Yeah.
I guess I have a tendency to feel really judged by it, you know? So.
Well, then what's your preferred then way of getting to know clients or getting known or out there? Do you do business card drop-offs? Do you go into businesses and
Right. Well, I'll say this, like, I have, fortunately or unfortunately, been in the Valley my whole life, and my wife as well. And I have a lot of people that I know between my wife's circle and my circle, and like I've been teaching and coaching, and like, there's a lot of people that I know, and for me, because of that, which going into realty, like, that's kind of just a gold mine if you know people. And so for me, most all of my clients have come from me sending out letters to everyone that I have in my contact database. You know, I have like 500, 600 people that I personally know in the Valley that I just send letters to. And
but activities and work outside of real estate.
Oh man,
that's how you got everyone.
Yeah, like actually one of my first clients came from, I was playing soccer at Soccer Storm like last year, and just started talking to them how I just started it, and they were like, cool, we actually wanted to buy a house. All right, let's do it. Like, that's
why I work, some at the brewery still, and I do game night every week, because it just gives me a chance to talk to
that's a really good
random
good
people.
One. Yeah.
Or we had a lot of people that were camping in town, seeing family over the 4th.
Oh, and so camping and going to the bar.
Yeah.
Nice.
I know.
That's the way to camp.
They'll go to Hell's Gate, and then they'll come and it's like the shortest from Hell's Gate.
Yeah.
They go to the brewery, and there was a couple families that came to bingo last Thursday, and they had no idea it was bingo or game night. They're not locals.
Didn't just walk out when
and they were winning hats. A couple of them won hats, and they were just like, "This is the best time." But then you're getting to chat with them, so that maybe the next time they come to town, or they'll know someone else coming to town, they can just mention the name. So I like that, though, getting your outside circles, your outside people you know, that's not really involved in the real estate world.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how you're getting clientele.
It's easy thing to bring up in conversation too, you know?
Yeah.
Literally, if you ask someone what they do for a living, they're going to ask you back. And
Yeah.
It just starts right there, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Waha Bar and Grill, we went several weekends ago. But they have like a card thing on the outside with all these folded real estates, attorneys. There's like all sorts of them. And I was trying to dig up a card and like put it in there, but
I've never done that. I need to.
No.
I really need to. I need to like diversify how I'm doing things for sure and try to get people that I don't know in. But
do you have anything in the works or this summer, or do you want to do anything? Is there a goal this year that you have in the works in terms of business?
Yeah, I mean, I have my own personal goals of how much I want to sell that, you know, we'll see if get there or not. You always try for it. But then as far as advertising, like I've been kicking myself that I haven't been using social media well because it's free.
Yeah.
And
certain ones are free.
Well, the ones that are really, in my opinion, really good are free for the most part. And I need to use them because they do have really big reach, and it's an easy way to get to a lot of people really quickly.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you like the first-time home buyer? Like
a class?
Like a class, or like dealing with first-time home buyers? No. Is that something that you, or do you draw more towards, I don't know.
I mean, I definitely draw towards people who I feel like I can get along with pretty well, you know, and it doesn't really matter if that's a first-time home buyer or whatever they're looking for, investment, anything just like that. People. I just like, that's what I really like about this job is you do get to meet a lot of people and really get to know people really well.
Yeah. Well, so. And, you know, there's multiple steps to buying the house. There's the realtor, there's the lender, there's also the other agent that you're dealing with if there's a you know, buyer-seller thing, there's the title company, there's, you know, appraisers, there's all sorts of steps. So there's people in every aspect and who you know, and there's some things like we can't choose the appraiser. We just kind of put something out there that's like, well, you can take this job if you want. And there's a guy that we really enjoy that comes up from Boise. So it's, I mean, but seeing those people along the way and them even saying, well, hey, I know this person that does, you know, really well in this, or I think would be great fit for you. You know, it's always good to hold those. Yeah. But first-time home buyers, I mean, they're the ones that you have to really not be more.
It feels like a really complicated process. It is a little bit more
because they are so lost in translation and the lingo and the words.
Yeah, it's gotten actually more difficult as I've gotten better at it. Like sometimes I'll explain things in ways that sound so good in my head, but then afterwards they still have so many other questions. And I think I honestly was better at it before I got into it because I was learning it, but I was able to empathize a lot better. And it's getting harder and harder, which is kind of tough.
Yeah, it is
but
tough.
I mean, I you know, it's good to, you know, one thing that I do is I try to like jot down the things that could have gone better in every transaction that I do, and kind of how can I get better at that, you know? And that's one thing that I've written down a couple times. It's just like being able to explain to people that don't understand that whole process a little bit better. And I'd like to figure out, you know, I'd love to hear from other agents and how they do that. That's one of my favorite things to do is talk to other agents about how they do stuff, especially being new. And you know, you hear, it's crazy how many different ways there are to do like everything.
Or how
it doesn't matter if I talk to one person, they're always going to give me something a little bit different on how they do their purchase and sale agreements, or how they do, you know, how they get inspections or walkthroughs or whatever. And it's really good to write down and remember a lot of the multiple ways of doing things.
I feel like if you were to ask like that question to 20 different realtors, they'll all give you a different answer, but with like same outcome maybe, but anything.
Ultimately, it's the same outcome generally. But,
things happen.
Yeah.
especially like with credit, everything is really cracking down on credit, and people, they'll try to reach out to me, and a ton of them, it's like they don't know that their credit is affecting everything. They'll be like, well, I've been at my job for so long. Well, yeah, but your credit's
I didn't
in the
even know
forward,
what
you
credit
know?
was until I was like 25.
I know.
Like it's.
I
had
didn't
no
know
clue.
that my car loan, when I first bought my first car, was going towards my credit. Like, I have no idea. No idea.
My first credit card had a maximum of $300.
Big spender.
Right. And I just put my gas money on it. That's all I put on it. But I drove a lot
Yeah.
as a teenager, and like a lot. It's just one of my favorite things to do, really. And I maxed out that credit card every month. But I paid it off every month.
See?
Turns out that didn't help.
I should have done that. I should have had more credit build, or like someone to talk about that, because I did a lot of driving. When I first graduated, I was working at a job here in town, and my best friend asked me, she's like, you want to move to Moscow with me and live with me? I was like, sure. But I still worked down here, so I drove every day. And you know what? I know now that the whole gas money thing, I should have done that, and then I could have built my credit. But no one told me. I had no idea.
I just set up my son on the credit card.
Did you? Look at you.
I got him set up.
Early
and,
investing.
Yeah, got him like his savings account ready. All that stuff.
That's great.
So, all good.
I know. Credit's it's huge, and
But the thing is, it wasn't that big, like when our parents were kids, and so they didn't know what to do. And it kind of concerns me, because I'm like, okay, what's gonna be next? Like, who knows? It could be freaking Bitcoin or something, and you and I are gonna be like, wow, I have no clue how to use that. Like, I should have got my Bitcoin credit, up, but we're not.
Well, there was that. They're gonna probably get rid of our currency. I'm like, what are we gonna do with it then? Started like a starter for a fire? No, I can't. That's gonna be awful.
I think that there's definitely some interesting things in the works that could have a lot of really big effects.
Well, that's, I mean, cool for your kids, being able to start them off on a great foot when they get older.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah.
But
Hopefully. I don't know, it would be kind of cool. Not kind of like a first home buyer, but kind of like a start your kids off on the right foot kind of seminar or something. Like, here's some tricks you can do.
I would love to go to that.
That would be cool.
All my advice I've gotten from how to get my kids started on the right track is from Reels or TikTok.
TikToks.
And then, of course, verified with people I know in the thing. But it's like,
investing.
I never knew a lot of the things that I hear, like, never even thought about it,
Yeah.
So that's one really cool thing about the whole social media, world right now is the speed at which everyone can learn about things they never would have thought to learn about is pretty incredible.
Oh yeah. There's that guy that's like, what? No way. Do you know what I'm talking about? He does all these, what do you want to call them?
Like reaction videos?
Kinda, but he'll see something on the internet that's like,
and he'll try
like a
it.
trick,
Yeah.
to like help your life, and he'll be like, what? No way. And then he'll do it, and he'll be like, oh my gosh, how did I not know this?
No, those are cool.
They're fun. And same thing with like the investing, or talking about like first time home buyer. Don't put so much down, and you'll pay off your house earlier if you do one extra payment a year.
Sure.
Those kind of tricks and stuff. But the current market. Do you have anything listed, like active listings?
2418 Reservoir Road in Clarkston. Go buy it.
There you go.
I need someone to buy that.
Yeah.
It's so many showings. It's just one of those houses that's not quite move-in ready. You'd have to go in. You'd have to do a few little things to it here, and it's really big, so it's still priced pretty high.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of hard
the lot
for.
was great.
Oh, the lot's awesome.
The lot's awesome.
And if you have a trailer and a boat
Yes.
and a car and a truck, you have a place to park it all.
Shops are big. Everyone loves a shop. Do you feel like, have you done with any like lots or land properties? Have you done?
I've never listed land.
Never listed land.
I'm excited to do so though.
Yeah, all the potential there.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to that, what are some kind of hoops that you have to go through that's different in terms of like nothing can be inspected. It's just land. Nothing can be appraised, you know. So you know what the hoops are for those.
I will learn them fast when the time comes.
Not been able to deal with it though yet.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. In where I work, we don't do construction loans. We don't do, you know, those type of things. So again, me as a outsider, I don't know what they have to go through. It's a whole different ball game. But you'd think it would be less because there's nothing on the property to. It's just the land.
Yeah, but you never know. Like, of course, you'd have to make sure that you can put what you want on the land, and I don't really understand how
sewer
a lot of
and
this city and easements and things like that work for as good as I should.
Yeah.
You know. And
so that's crazy. Do you have a favorite neighborhood or area around here that you kind of cherish or you really like showing off?
Well, I know where I would love to put a house if I had the ability to right now. Like, I love that area, like around Rivara.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of newer builds going on over there that have an amazing river view, and it's far enough away from town that's how I'd like it. But
what's the county? Is it still?
I think so. Nez Perce
County?
I think so.
I wonder where the
It's
line.
getting pretty close to Lado, though.
Yeah.
So
I wonder where the line's at.
I'm not sure.
That would be fantastic.
But I also really like that area, like up above the Elks, like the Crest View area. Right
I helped out with an open house there.
The view from up there is pretty incredible as well.
The planes
So
coming over, you know, because all the planes.
yeah, if you like
there,
that,
I was like,
I feel like that's more of a negative, but
certain people.
But if you get far enough over north,
Yeah.
of that section, like you stay away from it.
Yeah,
and
yeah. I kind of live over by Goodwill, and they had the airplane show this last weekend, and so when they were doing some practice stuff, we were watching like the jet. It was so cool to watch.
I was out of town during that. I wish I could have gone.
Yeah, I know. We went out of town the day of, but they were doing some practice flights before and like after even.
Yeah.
They were doing some stuff, but seeing those fun things. At Rivora, there's a house right above that you can rent out Airbnb through them. I believe for weddings, and I got to do wedding makeup up there.
Oh, nice.
Oh my gosh.
See, that's really why I love that area, is because if I could do it perfectly, I would buy a piece of land there and probably even put like a mobile home or something on the property temporarily.
Yeah.
And live in that while I built a house.
Yeah.
And then turn that mobile home into an Airbnb with a huge deck. Like, I've always had this cool idea of like doing an Airbnb that's specifically for like a winery, like working together with a winery.
Oh, that
and like,
would be really
you know,
cool.
when you book the Airbnb, you get like a bottle of your choice and you get free tastings and like being able to like work together like that. I think that'd be really awesome.
That's very cool.
So
yeah, I know. I trying to do fun stuff like local, like the winery and the brewery. I'm always like, oh yeah, I'll bring groundwork beer, no problem. Do you have any small businesses that you like to promote, or like your favorite? Like you get your Thai place at a certain restaurant. Do you get? I mean the bakery downtown, the Skaliskis. Do you get brownies? Like, what is something that you kind of talk to people, especially out of town, like, hey, you need to go here?
Well, a couple of my really close friends have started some businesses recently.
Yeah.
And I definitely like to promote them. They're not like usually places that you'd go, but you know, like
businesses in general.
Like one of my really good friends, Annie, she has Annie Photography in town, and she's been doing amazing with that. And she's one of those people that just like goes ham on the trainings and trying to figure out exactly how to do it the best you possibly can. So she's someone, a lot of photographers. I'm really good friends with Courtney Cammers.
Oh, yeah.
I forget the name of her thing, but she's photographed our wedding. She did ridiculously good.
Her and her husband come down to the brewery.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then my friend Lacey Sinner just started a doula business.
Yes, I know. I saw that.
So we'll see how that.
I hope that really
goes.
does
It's kind of
well
hard for
for
me
her.
to promote. I feel like, but I guess I've probably
Well,
come across people who do.
if you're like getting a clientele that has they just maybe got married, gonna settle, start a family. Well, hey, I got this friend.
Yeah.
Love that. That's awesome. Does your wife still do bakery stuff?
Just for friends and family.
I know. Gosh,
You're a friend and family,
she's
Jenny.
she's made both my daughter's birthday cakes, and her birthday is. I was like, oh no, I don't know if I should.
Here's the thing,
her, but
cakes are crazy. Like, I have so much respect for like Britain starting her own cake thing
downtown
at Bees, because when we did the math on how much she's making per hour with her cakes, it was like $1.50, and she felt like she was overpricing. $1.50 an hour to make these cakes. Like, if she wanted to make a normal like Washington minimum wage, she was gonna have to charge like $150 for 12 cupcakes.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane.
I feel that. I feel that in my gut.
Yeah.
Same wedding makeup. They're
Yeah.
like, what's how many hours are you putting into this project? Well, I don't know.
It's a lot.
I don't put it on paper, but when you do, then it's kind of it's a shock
Like,
revelation.
if you feel like those really small, like, just do it yourself businesses are overpricing, like, you've never done one before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
my wife and I love Demi Cookie Co's cookies, and I cannot imagine the amount of time she takes to make each one of those.
And how long they have to sit for.
It blows me away how
know.
detailed they are. And I'm like, I'm only paying this much for them. Like, I should not be able to afford these. Like, these are too nice,
Right.
She's listening. She needs to charge more.
Well, if you go to a big city, oh my gosh, it's outrageous how much things are.
Yeah.
Just to go, I don't know, before we came here, my husband and I were looking at the Dairy Queen menu. We like the blizzards, and they have a cake batter one. And I go down, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll get one for him, one for me, and one for my daughter.
Yeah.
My son's out of town this week, so it was $17 for 3 of them. I was like, oh my gosh, we should have just got a Ninja Creamy and made these at home. I mean, they're great, but my husband really wants a Ninja Creamy.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like an ice cream maker, but you can make anything out of it.
Interesting.
But Dairy Queen they're blizzard. I don't know.
They're just good.
Can't match it.
And you have a lot of nostalgia when it comes to that stuff.
The line is still so long. Oh my gosh. Change that up. Talking about commercial, have you dealt with any commercial listings or prospects?
I have not.
You have not.
I've been out of that area so far.
Is it intriguing to you?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It's intriguing. I would love to like buy a business at some point too. Like, instead of trying to get it started, like buy one already going. I feel like that's an underrated way to make some money, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know why people more don't do that.
I mean, it's probably fairly expensive. I don't know from the lending perspective what that looks like either.
Right,
but,
right.
From an outsider looking in, it seems like a good way to go.
Yeah. Out of town clients that you've worked with, do you know, is it because families may be closer, or is it getting too kind of crowded down there where, Boise, where they came from? What do you feel like is the move to come up here?
Like I said, a lot of my clients have been friends and family, and all the ones moving from Boise have been people coming back here mainly because they want to be closer to family.
Family, yeah. People always ask me, when is it a good time to buy? Is it now? Is it later? What do you say, or what is some advice that you give to people that ask you that question?
As far as just strictly buying, I think that if you're only thinking about buying, it can be really good to try to buy in the winter. Because it's a little bit slower. Buyers just tend to have a little bit more edge in the winter, and prices kind of dip a little bit. But competition is a lot less, so you don't have to worry as much about it. Now, there's not going to be as much on the market for the most part, but if you're willing to kind of take your time and look, that can be a way that statistically you will save a little bit of money, whereas like if you try to time the market in general, you almost never can. But the market definitely moves seasonally over time, like it always has, pretty much.
If you look back on history, You know, history repeats itself, and that makes a lot of sense. And it is like a downtime, but it's also a great time, I would say, to buy too, because
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, we not all of us have like not a lot going on that we could get things closed within so like a flash.
Yeah, I think it's underrated that doing that.
I think
And
moving in the snow would be a.
you don't care about snow in Lewiston, the one day a year that you have to worry about it.
Listen, if I look back at my photos, we've had snow, like a good like snowfall at least like once a year. But that's
Cool.
about it. I do love the
I
snow.
doubt it would fall in that time if you were trying to move.
Wouldn't that be cool though to move into a new house on Christmas?
It'd be awesome.
Like as a big Christmas present. I think that would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a great. I like that talk.
Yeah, but if you're like trying to sell at the same time, it's a little bit different. You kind of have to balance those two.
Yeah. Well, and timing wise, I know I had clients that they were contingent. You know, they wanted this property super bad, but they had to sell theirs,
Yeah.
and they didn't even have an offer. And it's like, ugh, it's killer. So they took the house off the market. They're gonna kind of see, but it's that. I mean, if you have that dream house in mind, and you know you're able to do it if you had to sell your house, you know, and the timing is. Have you had any of that happen in some of the transactions that you've done where?
I have never closed a contingent transaction.
Oh, okay.
All of mine, like, especially when I first started out, like, it was the middle of everything was crazy. You couldn't get, like, just recently, those are starting to be an option.
Yes.
Again, that sellers will even consider. And all of the people that I've done that had to sell and buy did the, what's it called? I'm blanking on the name right now. You kind of get the loan with, what's it called? You should know.
Oh, early. Oh my gosh, I should. I don't know if I haven't had to deal with one, but I know what you're talking about. It's like you get it ahead of time.
And then you have like 3 months or something to pay back.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff, like the Good Neighbor, which I know you were looked into maybe getting that for yourself. You know, for firefighters, teachers, they get a better deal. And then there's the other programs like the VA and USDA that don't have any down payment. And so there's all sorts of things you can do. And that's the fun side about lending is what are some tricks we can do.
Or like
and
how you can trick with seller credits and stuff like that.
Seller credits, or let's pay off some debt while we're buying your house, you know, and that we can do it all there at the closing. And then it's so smooth.
Yeah.
And then that way, if we show like, hey, we're going to pay off this debt at their closing, then their debt to income is going to be less.
Right.
So then it just is like a preemptive.
Well, I love when lenders try to get creative like that. What I don't like, and this might be useful for you, but
Tell me.
what a lot of clients that I've talked to don't like is when you call someone and they say, oh, I just have this online tool that you can fill out, like that can get us started. I feel like, although it's probably most helpful for you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To do that, because then you have kind of the information ahead of time that you can kind of talk them through some stuff. It also makes people feel like they're not listened to. And like I just had one where he called someone, that's what they said, and he's like, I don't want to talk to them again, because they said, fill this out and then we'll talk.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want to talk to you first.
Totally.
And so like I think, you know, from a lending perspective, it might be a really good idea to just talk to someone for a
Give
while
the option.
and just have them talk through a few of the things.
Yeah.
Like you still obviously need them to fill out everything.
Yeah.
But
to have
can you
a
get that
call-
information with that more or less face to face, like much more personal approach right off the bat, and then go into, okay, now that we've talked, you know, now I kind of know your situation, even though you're gonna find it out through the other stuff. Like,
Right.
Now, you know, just fill out this tool and then I'll call you again. You know.
And there's some things that you can not waste time on, that you can maybe get some information ahead of time before they even do the,
You could. And
the
it's
application where it just
It's never time wasted when you're getting to know someone
Right.
and what their goals are and what they're trying to accomplish and what they may or may not have.
Yeah.
You know.
And we have that option of an online loan application, and sometimes there are questions along the way that they're just they don't know how to answer, or they'll get assets and liabilities mixed up. So I like to give the option of let's do it over the phone, you know, or I can meet in the office. It's hard, some of the work schedules of people that are like, listen, I don't have time. You know, so the online's great, but it does have its downfalls for sure. Because I feel like the online application does feel long, but when you're on a phone application, it's 10, 15, 20 minutes just to give me all that information you have, or even giving me that information. I can go, you know what? Because you haven't been at your job for that long enough, you're gonna have to wait. Yeah. So then we can, you know, talk to them and get to know and say, hey, I'll put you in my calendar in a couple months, you know, when you do hit that mark, and I'll reach out.
Yeah, I really like when lenders, especially for first-time home buyers, give people a plan. Here's what you can do to accomplish what you need to do. You know, get these goals figured out, and then we'll be able to get more.
We'll have people that are like, well, I'm trying to work on my credit, and so then we'll give them some tips or tricks, or let's start paying off that debt. Then we'll reach out in like a 6-month span and say, hey, you know, we pulled your credit here. This is where it was. Yeah. What have you done in that 6 months to work on your credit? And if it's something that's like, oh yeah, that could really benefit you, we can pull again and see, you know, then. But it is the reach out.
And oftentimes there's mistakes on those things. I had to get a mistake taken off of mine fairly recently, and it was. Did you? Like, I never knew it was even on there. It was killing my credit score.
Report? Yeah. Did you find it?
Yeah. And I had to get that removed. It's
People
crazy.
Don't know that you can look.
I can't believe that the government would make a mistake. I mean, come on.
Or identity theft, or divorcees. Yeah. They have the same credit card, and they assume the one person's paying on it, and they're not. And it's hard.
I can see there'd be a lot of crazy issues there.
Bad news. But credit, I mean.
Mine was just a payment that it said I missed that I know I didn't. Yeah. That's all it was.
And that it's easy to reach out to like TransUnion, Equifax, and like, get that fixed, but you don't see the credit report. And that's what we see. Yeah. You have to buy to get your score and all this stuff, but to see your report is free. Yeah. And not a lot of people know. Or like, what if you had like a simple John Smith kind of name, how many times have maybe someone's accidentally put in their social, you know, wrong, and then pulled up a different John Smith, you know? So it's wild.
That's another thing I'm really concerned about in the future is banking. Yeah. Like, I have 2 pretty close friends who recently had a lot of money taken out of their bank accounts just from someone random who literally knew all of their information. They knew their birth date, they knew their place that they were born, they knew their mother's maiden name, they knew everything. And I feel like
killer.
Right now, we're getting at this weird point where technology is about to surpass our ability to keep things safe online.
AI in general. God.
AI is cool, but it's also got a lot of really scary things. I don't know very much about it, but the only thing I know is like the people that I know that are in that circle, you know, all the people I know. Like, I have a good friend who's a coder. That's what he does for a living. Like, he's terrified. And that kind of scares me because like, obviously he knows what he's doing.
He's scared.
Yeah, and he's like, he's all doom and gloom. Like, the apocalypse is coming because of AI. It's like, that's a little scary. Oh, no. Especially because he knows so much about it. But,
yeah, and the tech side of it. Yeah. And of course, like, an average human being that, you know, knows how to maybe work an iPhone. Yeah. I'm not going to know.
Shoot, with AI, you know, my favorite thing has been the music that's come out. Have you seen some of that?
No. Lyrics?
Like, so, for example, someone released an entire album of Drake, but none of it was Drake. And it, like, if you heard it, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference at all. And it's really good. Like, it sounds exactly like him. Like, if you look on YouTube, like a AI Drake album or something like that, I forget what it's called. Dang. But I also really like the people are like turning new songs like into like songs by old artists. Like I think there's somewhere out there
Ooh, that's
where like
kinda cool, actually.
yeah, like Louis Armstrong sings "Low" by T-Pain. It's so good. Like I think of it like, man, this would be amazing at a wedding. Like, can you imagine
That would
like
be cool. Oh, that would be like your own personal wedding song.
Yeah.
And have a famous person singing it. That'd be cool.
There's some really cool stuff out there like that, but
Yeah.
obviously that's just the like fun side that we see.
Yeah.
But
some, it's going to take away a lot of stuff in the future.
Yeah.
In terms of jobs and.
But there's always like that's happened many times before, and there's always new opportunities that come from it. But I don't know. People in the know seem to be very concerned, and that concerns me. I love like ChatGPT. Like I've used it all the time for like a lot of my creating content stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. It's a total tool to use. Dara was playing with the picture. Like you type in like
Dolly.
Pull up a. Is that what it was?
Was it Dolly AI? Or was it?
I tried that one, but the Mid-Journey.
Okay. Yeah.
You like pop like a donut or a hot dog skiing or something, and it just like. Boom.
I've used that. So my
Crazy.
wife does some of the like content for Young Life in the Valley on social media. And I help her a little bit with it sometimes. And one time they were doing a silent disco. You know what that is? Where you like have the music.
The
and,
headphones.
Like,
I did that in
different channels
Vegas.
you could do.
That was fun.
But she didn't have like a good picture to use, and so we just like used AI, like do a picture of silent disco, like, and it looked awesome.
That's so
you know,
cool.
it was really cool.
That was cool. I know I've kind of dabbled in it a lot. You probably use it way more in your stuff, but I mean tech and I mean credit and trying to keep yourself safe. I mean,
No, it's gonna be a big problem.
yeah.
I'm really concerned about that because it does seem like it's just getting easier and easier for people to take stuff.
Yeah. Well,
and get around really, really big, or really, really well designed security systems.
yeah. Well, and when we pull credit, there are people that pay businesses that see that we've pulled their credit in the credit report, and they'll reach out to those people that are like, oh hey, I see someone pulled your credit.
Yeah.
What are they giving you for option? It's like, holy cow, what I did that is just because people are sneaky.
They're
getting
using
other information.
It really bothers me that people are able to use our data for free.
Yeah.
I feel like I should be getting paid for all the data that I give Facebook, like
Meta.
yeah, like I mean obviously
Give me some money.
being like a realtor, you can't really just ignore that and not you can't just not be on social media, and
right.
you have to put like before this I never had like my phone number or email or anything on that, and now I do, and it's a little bit scary, but also at the same time, I'm like, man, I should really be getting paid for all these advertisements that they're getting because of me.
Well, and like it's only when like if their email or like there's certain things that if we pull their credit and their stuff's in the system, like that's how then they'll contact these people, and so it's like it's hard. Then you can actually go in and like opt out of getting solicited.
The do not call list.
Do not call list or opt out from the pull credit thing. Don't look at like if someone pull my credit, don't you dare come to me telling me, oh, I saw someone pull your credit. What I can maybe give you better. And it's like, you're a robot. You're across the country just trying to ride the coattails. No.
Well, they're getting these like basically free call lists of people who are already interested in like
I know.
It's wrong.
I know. When when we pull credit, I'll try to explain like, hey, this, tends to happen. I can put your information in the opt out. There's like a 5-year, and then there's like a forever stuff, but then they want to talk to you personally when it's the forever. So I can give the option of the 5-year. So I can put your information in and opt you out for 5 years.
You should give me a setup on that.
Oh yeah, I will. It's
the amount
optout.com.
of robocalls I get from people is unreal.
It's optout.com. I'm like 100% sure. So, and then it's like if someone then pulls in that time, you can turn them in and get $500.
Can you really?
Yeah.
I gotta get that set up then.
You should.
That's
the do not call, and a lot of the too I found out when I was doing my studying for the LO test that what you can, you can totally turn people in for doing that. And like if you go to a dealership, a lot of people do this too, where they don't know they've already pulled your credit.
Right.
They've already pulled it.
Yeah.
And sometimes they won't even, before they ask you, they'll pull it. And it's like, then you can go on your report and say, well, why the heck,
There are a lot of people just going to car dealerships trying to get their credit pulled so that they can get a $500 reward.
Well, maybe. They're like, you're fishing. Then people do that. People totally do that. People do that in the medical field. They'll pretend to be a patient. They'll go in an office.
No way.
Yeah, and then they'll see like any HIPAA violations, and they'll turn them into HIPAA.
God.
They're called like, oh gosh, what's the job called? I looked into it actually.
Oh, that's a job.
It's a job.
I thought it was just people
like a
trying
company
to be sneaky.
hires you to go into said facilities, and like.
I want to be one of
rate
those
them
people
and-
who is hired to go into restaurants and
Oof. If I was a food, I'm not much of a writer, but I can eat a lot of
I
food.
don't like writing, but like just
blog.
make sure that they're following everything.
Quality.
But I'm getting paid to go to restaurants.
Quality of this
Awesome.
restaurant. That would be ideal.
I'm always worried that like with my Airbnbs and stuff that people are gonna come in and find tooth comb, like
nitpick.
look in a corner and
Yeah.
take a swab and say, oh, it's dirty.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many do you have?
Well, just one.
Oh, just
I'm
one.
trying to get another one right now.
Cool.
So
Very
we'll see.
cool.
But
That's all. I mean, when we travel, a lot of the time, that's all we use is Airbnbs. It's cheaper.
Yeah.
Some of them are. You can get like the higher end, like cabins in McCall.
there's some places though where you're going there and all you need is a bed.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so.
And my best friend and I went to Utah this last winter, Randy, and we got an Airbnb that, I mean, the pictures looked great, but I didn't know it was a basement of the house.
Oh, gotcha.
I thought it was like a little tiny little house.
Yeah.
When you get there, and then, but it was perfect. It's all we needed was a couch, a bed, a fridge. That was it. But it was fun. It was super fun.
It's Airbnb is the best for when you have like big groups of people going. Like my friends and I go on a ski trip every winter, and we go
So do
wherever. And
We go to McCall normally.
we try to go to like new resort every time.
Ooh,
So
that's fun.
Like we went to Mount Baker this year.
I should convince my friends.
We've gone to Snowbird, we've gone Alta, we've gone
Very cool.
All those places. But
Yeah.
Every time we
Airbnb.
get a big Airbnb, and it's pretty expensive if you were just going yourself, but when you have 10 friends all pitching in together, makes it much more doable and
Yeah.
it's a blast.
Very cool.
So,
Well, Jace, I mean, besides a little hiccup there,
God,
I mean,
I was about to die, I think.
I know, I was a little scared. About to whip out CPR. Heimlich. I've done that.
It wasn't the beer.
Well, let's
Right.
think of
It
it.
wasn't the
Well,
beer.
last little bit. Cheers. Thank you for coming on
course.
here. I really appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate you reaching out to me.
Thanks.
So, cool.
That's it.